The US dollar is a scam. It's trash. And I'm going to talk about it. But first, yes, I said it. I said it. Yeah, trash and a scam. But, anyways, before I get into that, welcome to Black to Bitcoin, where I talk about the need for Bitcoin in the Black community. I'm Tiffany, and I would be very grateful if you would leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. It helps a lot. Okay, let's talk about this US dollar and why it is a scam and trash. All right, and I say that very easily without hesitation. I'm going to talk about a few points that explain the dollar and how it is detrimental. Okay, now got my list here so that I can make the point validly. Y'all don't understand. I be having a struggle. I be on a struggle bus with these videos sometimes. But I got my notes. Hopefully it'll keep me on the right track. But let's go ahead and get into it. Oh yeah, I have here, before I get into this, I'm going to be talking about the US dollar. I highly suggest that you read the Bitcoin Standard. It really helps to understand money. And these points that I'm making are just really how the dollar works. But that book goes into the whole monetary system, and you should definitely try it. And it's in the description. I just like to point that out. It's a really great book. Okay, now let's get into it. The first thing is that it is backed by trust and government control. Okay, that is it. There is no insurance behind the dollar. Okay, we used to be on a gold standard, so in that time, gold is an actual physical asset. You can't just duplicate it easily. People have to mine gold, and when that was the gold standard, things were a lot better. Now the government actually creates the asset. It's fiat money, and it can be created at will. Okay, so basically it's a trust system. You have to trust that when you put your money into a bank, that the bank is going to hold the money, that you'll be able to access the money. It's all trust. Okay, and yeah, that's that. I think I got everything on that. Yes. Okay, the second thing, and this is the big thing that a lot of people don't understand. The printing of the money, well, the main thing is that it's created through debt and banking. But the actual problem with the money printing is not so much that the Federal Reserve does it. They do. They print it at will. But most of the money that causes the flood into the economy comes from banks creating the money. So when somebody gets a loan on anything, a house, whatever, the bank creates that money out of thin air. It doesn't exist. None of it exists. It's all, so they will print the money, well, not print the money, but they will flood the market with this fake money. It doesn't exist. And what this does is it creates more money, which makes the US dollar useless. Okay, so that's why we have so much money being infused into the system. It's not just that the Federal Reserve is printing it, it's because banks pretty much bankroll it. They just completely just put the money out into the universe, really, because there's no proof that it exists. They just say, oh, you want a $20,000 loan? Here's your $20,000, but it doesn't exist. Okay, so that is a big scam. All right, I think I have everything for that. Yes. The third thing I have is that the system is managed and that it is inflationary. Okay, so the Federal Reserve literally decides if they want the economy to be good or bad. That is the whole point. They decide, hey, I think we should increase interest rates or decrease interest rates. I think there's too much money in the economy. I think they literally just think. They decide, they base it on their factors, and pretty much decide if you and I will succeed or not, basically. And it affects everything. It affects stocks, it affects other markets. It really is a complete government controlled currency. And even though it is backed by just about every country in the world, it's losing its value, and it pretty soon will not be used by everybody. Okay? So, I think that's all I have for that point. Yeah, just that the more money that is added to the system, the more inflation. And we know what that means for us. It means that we have to spend more, we are punished, and that's it. Okay? That's basically the gist of it. I went through it very fast, but let me just say, this US dollar is in trouble. And you need to be on the boat to have the next asset in line, and that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be the replacement. 100%. I hate saying 100%. I always make up some number under it, like 99.2, 99.5, 90, whatever, just to make the point that I can't 100% be sure, but that I'm pretty sure. So today, I'm going to say 99.2, okay? I'm a 99.2% sure that Bitcoin is going to be the currency that replaces the US dollar. So you need to have some of that, okay? You need to have some. So I will never ever say 100% go and get you some Bitcoin, but I will say it's very likely that you should have some because it will replace the dollar. The dollar is losing all of its value. People are finally seeing that it is a scam, and its time is up. At this point, there's way too much money in the system, and it has nowhere to go from but down from here. And I just want to make it clear, like, people will think that it could never happen because it's like, yes, the US dollar. Study the history of money. It happens to the main currency. Even gold, if you think about that, gold was the actual standard. It's amazing and it's like rare, and still that was affected. Not that gold isn't still valuable, but just even the fact that somebody can change gold's value and change gold's role in money, that in itself is a hint that the US dollar is not exempt from having some kind of turmoil or something change about it. So I just think it's time for people to wake up. Definitely Black people, we need to own some Bitcoin, okay? If it's you, that would be a good thing. But if it's not you, the rest of us need to do it, okay? So that's all I have for this video. Recap, it's backed by trust and government power, nothing else, not the gold standard. It is created through debt and banking. When they create loans and everything else, they infuse extra money into the system that cannot be accounted for, first of all, but also, even in theory, causes a problem of flooding money into the system. And then that the system is managed and inflammatory. Well, actually, it is it's inflammation of people's wealth, okay? But that's not what I meant to say. It's inflationary, okay? So the Federal Reserve basically chooses whether the interest rate will be high or low, and if it wants the economy to thrive or to crash, okay? So those are the 3 points. Let me know in the comments any other aspects of the US dollar that could be pointed out as cautionary. Other than that, have a great day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.